Have you ever looked back on your life the way you might watch a river, quietly, without reaching for it, without trying to slow it down, without searching for a shore, simply observing with a calm so tender it feels like wind slipping through your fingers? We arrive with empty hands and we leave the same way. This is not pessimism. It is clarity. Life, in truth, is a brief wayside inn, warm for a moment, then gone behind us. Each soul rests here for a little while before continuing its long journey through countless comings and goings. And yet we live as if we own what can never truly be possessed. A house, a person, a career, a dream. We speak of my life, my future, my happiness, as though existence were property and time could be fenced in. Perhaps this is why we grow tired so quickly. We grip old griefs, worn memories, and faded wounds. We pack our days with worries until there is no space left for a smile, for gratitude, or even for a single breath taken in peace. We become like travelers who keep adding heavy stones to their bag, because each stone has a story. This one is my heartbreak. This one is my anger. This one is my regret. We carry them not because they help us, but because we have mistaken heaviness for meaning. Once, in a temple courtyard, I saw an elderly man sitting alone on a stone bench, his gaze resting on a still lake as if it contained the shape of his past. I asked him, "Grandfather, what are you thinking about? You look so deeply absorbed." He smiled gently and said, "I'm looking back on my life and realizing the thing that exhausted me most was not hardship. It was my stubbornness. Life is like an ox cart. The more you load onto it, the heavier the wheels become and the deeper they sink into the road." His words left me silent. How many years have we walked without ever asking what we are carrying or whether we truly need it? It is easy to assume that the burdens are unavoidable, but sometimes what weighs us down most is not what happened to us, but what we insist on holding afterward. Resentments we rehearse, complaints we polish, unfinished hopes we refuse to release, missed connections we replay as if repetition could rewrite the ending. We fear that letting go will make us empty. But emptiness is not loss. Emptiness is the beginning of breathing again. It is a mind finally spacious enough to return to itself. A cup cannot hold fresh water if it is already full of yesterday's sediment. The heart cannot feel the tenderness of the present if it is crowded with old storms. A life lived with ease is not a life without storms. It is a life guided by discernment, knowing what is worth carrying, what must be set down, and when. It is learning to release at the right time, to rest when tired, to soften the jaw and unclench the fist, to smile at what once seemed impossible to forgive or accept. Ease is not the absence of difficulty. It is the absence of unnecessary struggle, the second arrow we fire into ourselves. Close your eyes for 1 minute. Imagine each sorrow loosening the way a leaf loosens from its branch, softly, naturally, without regret. let it fall. A falling leaf is not only an ending, it is also the beginning of a season that makes room for renewal. In the same way, you can become lighter. You can come alive again. Not by forcing happiness, but by making space for it. There are rainy afternoons when the rain does not fall outside, but inside the heart. There are griefs no one can name, yet they linger, stubborn as darkness pressed against the glass of the soul. Who has not suffered? Yet what wears us down is not only suffering itself, but our refusal to meet it, denying it, fleeing it, pretending it is not there. We exhaust ourselves trying to escape pain the way one might try to outrun a shadow, only to find it follows every turn. An old teaching speaks of 2 arrows. The first arrow is the painful circumstance, the loss, the betrayal, the illness, the disappointment. The second arrow is our reaction: anger, blame, fear, shame, despair. With only the first arrow, pain comes and eventually passes. But without wisdom, we strike ourselves again and again. The first arrow hurts, the second arrow rots. The first is life's weather. The second is the mind's refusal to accept that weather changes. And it is this second arrow that keeps the wound bleeding long after the event has ended. People often say, "Be strong." But there is a strength deeper than forcing yourself to stand. Sometimes true strength is daring to sit down quietly. When pain is heavy, the heart may need stillness, not analysis, not defense, not a plan for victory, but simply breath, simply feeling, simply allowing the wound the dignity of open air and honest sky. There are moments when the most healing thing you can do is stop explaining yourself, stop proving, stop justifying, stop trying to outrun the ache, and let it be seen in the open light of attention. I once met a young woman on a short meditation retreat in the countryside. She arrived with hollow eyes, clutching divorce papers whose ink looked barely dry. For 7 days she spoke to no one. She only sat, only breathed, only wrote in a journal, lines that were more like broken footprints than words. On the final day, she offered a faint smile and said, "I realized I don't have to understand everything right away. Sometimes staying still in one place is the bravest act of all." I never forgot that sentence. Because we live in an age that worships solutions, quick fixes, instant clarity, immediate closure. But the heart does not heal by command. It heals the way the earth heals after a storm, slowly, quietly, with time and sunlight and patience. There are pains that cannot be solved. They can only be met. Suffering arrives like an unexpected guest. We cannot chase it away, and we cannot honestly welcome it. But we can learn to invite it to sit down. We can offer it a quiet cup of tea. When we meet pain with mindful awareness, suffering no longer owns us. We do not run from it, but we do not drown in it either. We watch it like a cloud passing through the sky, present, changing, and not permanent. Slowly, we begin to see that even pain can carry the silhouette of a teacher, arriving to instruct us in the art of release. Place a hand on your chest, close your eyes, breathe in and recognize, "I am sad." Breathe out and soften. Sadness is here, but so am I. Repeat this gently 3 times and notice whether the heart becomes even slightly lighter. Not because sadness disappears, but because you have stopped abandoning yourself in the presence of sadness. There is a quiet dignity in staying. Do not rush. Be quiet, and the light will find its way back on its own. The mind that stops thrashing becomes clear enough to see the shore it could not find while panicking. In a life tangled with attachment, there are things we hold so tightly that they only burn us more, like gripping a hot coal in the palm. The tighter we squeeze, the deeper the pain. And still, letting go can feel like the hardest act, because we fear loss. Losing the ones we love, losing a dream, losing ourselves in what feels like a void. We imagine that release is a kind of disappearance, that if we stop holding, something essential will be taken from us. Yet letting go is not losing. Letting go is saving yourself from what is harming you. I once saw a middle-aged man who had suffered for years after his ex-wife's betrayal, still holding his pain as if it were a sacred relic. He said, "I can't forget because I loved too much." His eyes were dry, his voice exhausted. I asked him one question. If she no longer remembers you, why are you the one feeding a pain that only you must carry? Sometimes letting go is not the end of love. It is love maturing into mercy. Mercy for the other person and mercy for yourself. It is refusing to let pain become chains, or affection become a shackle, or the heart become a cracked bowl you spend a lifetime trying to fill. There are relationships that end, but the heart keeps living in them as if sleepwalking through old rooms. Letting go is waking up. Letting go is understanding that some things were never ours to possess, no matter how fiercely we try. We cannot hold time. We cannot keep people who have chosen to leave. We cannot force life to unfold according to our will. But we can release, so we can breathe. We can release, so we can live in the present. We can release, so we can keep walking forward even when tenderness still lingers behind us like a fragrance. And perhaps this is what it means to grow wise. Not to become indifferent, but to become spacious. Not to harden into coldness, but to soften into truth. A spacious heart can love without gripping, mourn without drowning, remember without reopening the wound each time. Someone asks, how do I let go when my heart still hurts? Begin by not resisting. Do not pretend to be invincible. Cry if you need to. Write if you need to. Be silent if you need to. Speak to someone safe if you need to. And one day, when you no longer feel compelled to retell the story, when the wound no longer keeps you awake at night, you will recognize the quiet truth. You have begun to let go. Letting go is not a command. It is a season, like autumn leaves falling, like clouds thinning toward evening. It does not happen by force. But there comes a time when even sorrow grows tired of itself and quietly leaves. It loosens its grip the way the body loosens after long tension, not all at once, but gradually, one breath at a time. When storms rise outside, people rush to find shelter. But there is a refuge always available, near, unmoving, unchanged, yourself. The true dwelling of peace is the inner home. Some live amid glittering cities and feel hollow. Others live in quiet fields and carry bright laughter. Peace does not live in a place. It lives in the way you live with your own heart. It lives in whether you are constantly at war with your experience or gently learning to make room for it. Within each person there is an island. Return to it. Take refuge there. That island is mindfulness, the awakened ground beneath the noise. When you stop in the middle of pain, sit still and look deeply, you may discover something astonishing. The storm outside can be enormous, yet it cannot touch the wide sky within if you return to it. The sky does not argue with the clouds. It does not chase them. It allows them to pass. And when you no longer run, you don't need to win anything. You only need to sit, breathe, and soften. You only need to stop making your life a battlefield. There is no road that leads to peace, because peace is the road. Sit upright, eyes gently closed. With each breath, whisper inwardly, I have returned. I am home. I am settled. Let the words be simple. Let them be sincere. The mind that returns becomes quiet enough to hear what it has been drowning out, that you are already here, already alive, already capable of beginning again. The storm may still exist, but within you, a wide sky opens, clear, spacious, free. Much of our suffering comes from refusing to release. We cling to what cannot belong to us forever. We ache when what we believed would stay is taken away, and then we cradle grief until it becomes familiar. Yet nothing is truly lost. What is yours will return in some form sooner or later. What is not yours, no matter how tightly you hold, will eventually depart. This is impermanence, the law that moves through all things. It is not cruel, it is simply honest. It is what allows winter to become spring, what allows endings to become beginnings, what allows the heart to grow larger than its first pain. To let go of affliction does not mean forgetting. It does not mean abandoning responsibility or the world. Letting go is a state of mind, seeing clearly what burdens you and gently placing it down so you can walk on, lighter, steadier, more free. It is not turning away from life. It is turning toward life without the extra weight of illusion. The Buddha taught that affliction arises from greed, anger, and delusion. Greed that always wants more. Anger that burns when life refuses our demands. Delusion that cannot see reality and stumbles in darkness. So where do we begin? We begin with the breath. When you return to inhale and exhale, the present becomes tangible, quiet, complete. A full breath is a moment in which you are no longer dragged by the past or hunted by the future. The breath is the thread that ties the mind to reality, the bridge that leads back to ease. In a single, sincere breath, you are no longer merely surviving. You are meeting life. And then we look deeply at our troubles. We do not run and we do not fight. We face them and see their true nature, passing thoughts born from unmet expectations, unhealed hurt, inner conflict. When you understand this, affliction is no longer an enemy to destroy, but a teacher to learn from. You meet it with a small smile. Allow it to be, and let it leave when its conditions are finished. Live like water. Water meets rocks and does not argue. It does not cling. It moves around obstacles with patience, and in time it reaches the wide sea. The person who lives like water knows how to release. They do not insist on being right. They do not store grudges in the heart. Their spirit becomes spacious, gentle, forgiving, free. In such a heart, injury cannot easily take root because the mind does not give it soil. And even when pain comes, it does not harden into identity. It passes through, leaving wisdom behind. Happiness is not a distant prize at the end of endless striving. It has been waiting quietly in you all along. The moment you set down what hurts, you will feel it. A lightness, a softness, a return. Not the loud happiness that depends on perfect circumstances, but the quiet happiness that comes from being at peace with what is. In the morning, remind yourself that life is brief and fragile. Sorrows and joys alike are temporary, like dew dissolving when the sun rises. Keep your heart light as a breeze, clear as dawn, peaceful as a bird in open sky. You do not need to carry yesterday into today like a punishment. You do not need to rehearse tomorrow as if worry were preparation. Letting go is the first step toward truth, toward peace, toward a lasting kind of happiness. Letting go so you can live. Letting go so you can love. Letting go so you can forgive. Letting go so you can feel life again. In the end, the river does not ask your permission to flow. Seasons do not pause for your preferences. People come close and people drift away. Youth arrives and youth passes. Joy visits and joy leaves footprints that fade. This is not a tragedy. It is the rhythm of things. To live wisely is not to defeat impermanence, but to stop fighting it. So when you notice the hand tightening around something, an old story, a grudge, a fear, a longing, pause. Ask gently, what am I trying to protect? What am I afraid to feel? What would it be like to loosen my grip, even a little? You may discover that what you have been holding is not love, but control. Not memory, but punishment. Not caution, but a cage. Let the breath remind you. You can begin again in this very moment. Let the heart remember you are allowed to be human, allowed to hurt, allowed to heal slowly. And let the mind learn the most difficult, most beautiful art of all. To release without bitterness, to accept without collapse, to love without clinging. And when you finally set down what you have been gripping for so long, you may discover what you were seeking all along. Peace was never somewhere else. It has always been here, waiting in the quiet center of your own heart.